bienvenue. Actually, he's not saying that. No, not bienvenue, considering where we are. Willkommen. Willkommen ist 120 Tag Winter in summer. And that is where I will end butchering the German language. I'm here at the Nürburgring to celebrate multiple milestones. I recently got a little bit closer to 50. It of course was also recently Father's Day. And as somebody who loves racing, it's one of those things you have to tick off the bucket list. For those who don't know, and why should you, my father, and I'm not doing the air quotes as a joke, because you'll find out later, my father was a racing driver. He raced Formula 3, Formula 1, sports cars back in the 60s. And he was, by all accounts, really quite good at it. However, 50 years ago this year, he had a crash that ended his career at the Nürburgring. And because of that, I never had a father. And 50 years ago this year, he was offered a drive in a Ford P68, which looks something like this. I think it was built by Alan Mann Racing. And I think from the get-go it was a bit of a dog. However, Ford went and offered him a decent amount of money, and he accepted. He went out and practiced and did one run. The lap that he did was an 8-minute 40. On the second lap, the car crashed at the Flugplatz, the flying place. And a lot of people basically, I think, said it was either driver fault, or it was the car, or it was like a deer ran out in front of him. And I have to say, judging by what everyone else has said, I think it was the car. However, he didn't die, but he sustained massive head injuries, and that ended his career. 2 years later, I arrived, and slightly after that he left. So yes, this is why I went Father's Day. So what you need to know about me is, growing up I was incredibly introverted. I would say even slightly Aspergery as well. So much so that I didn't even speak till I was 3. That's another story. But I can never remember ever asking my mother about my father and why he wasn't there. I just took it for granted. However, in about the year 2000, I ended up working for Haymarket Publishing for a summer. And what you need to know about Haymarket Publishing is they publish autosport and motorsport. Autosport deals with current motorsport, motorsport deals with historical motorsport. Anyway, I got called up to the motorsport offices to do some IT stuff. And one of the guys is like, "Oh my God, are you Chris Irwin's son?" And I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Oh my God, your father was like a legend." And I'm like, okay. And he then promptly went to riffle through some of the archive and pulled out some stories about my father. Even then I was, slightly amazed more than anything, but really, as soon as I left the office, it was like, oh, that was an interesting thing. A few years later, they then went and wrote an article in the paper where they looked at 5 racers that never fulfilled their potential, my father being one of them. And they wrote a very good article titled "The Grit in the Oyster," which again is a really good title. Basically that details the story that I've just told you in far better detail. And actually, there's a link down below where you can go and read the article directly from Motorsport. All that stuff is online. So, yeah, that's basically it. That is Father's Day for you. Anyway, I'm about to go and have a lap around the track in a McLaren, which should be amazing.
Yes. Okay, that's coming up now.
Yes, no, in Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
I've done this many times,
Okay.
but trust me, after just doing these number of corners, it's very different.
Yeah, you maybe can just get like the layout of the track with the
Yes.
simulator. That's it.
But you don't get the G-forces,
Yeah.
which I mean, the G-forces this is putting out, it's amazing.
Yeah. So now we're going down to Vauxhall.
Yeah.
And racing GT3 car, GT4, to like 160 to like 170.
Right.
Then out down here. Then all the way down to Adenau. Adenau very slippery and wet.
Yes.
Back to the right hand side 108, the Marshall Coast. Turning in here. Braking for miss and miss. It's like one steering angle.
Right.
One steering input inside and back. So this corner is Big Box corner, that's very fast. In racing we do this with like 130 miles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very fast. For the 24-hour race, team boss in the morning also, I always is having a meeting with the drivers. He's telling us, don't push too hard here. Don't push too hard, don't kill my drive shafts.
No.
I see
This
one.
is the famous corner that's on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's YouTube corner number 2.
And everybody does that.
Where we come to the little carousel. The difference here is you go completely down to the white line.
Okay, I
While
see,
in
yes.
this carousel you stay on the concrete plates because of the camber of the corner. Well, 186 turning in point. Curving on the inside is normally the point where you can put on the throttle again
Right.
and then hammer down the straight.
So that was possibly one of the most amazing drives I've experienced. Yeah. The driver can really hustle that car around, and yeah, G-forces, wow. Well, that about wraps it up for today. If of course you've enjoyed this video, I would really much appreciate it. You know, like, subscribe even, leave me a comment down below. And tomorrow we are going to go to the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart on the way home, which should be awesome. So another reason to stick around. And on that note, ciao, or should that be Auf Wiedersehen?